What's going on, everyone? So the Minnesota Timberwolves are in a pretty rough spot. Probably in your best interest to get off of Julius Randle. Problem is like how many teams are lining up to take him on? He still has 2 years because he has a player option that he's probably not opting out of. 2 years, making $60+ million in those 2 years. $30+ million combined. It's just, I don't think teams are running to the door for Julius Randle, especially with the way he performed in the playoffs. He's kind of this unique player that just doesn't really fit anywhere. And then on top of that, you want to keep Ayo Dosunmu. You're going to have Dante DiVincenzo. That's just going to maybe all of next season going to just be dead money on the books for you. You're in a tough spot, right? But out of everybody, the one guy that you might actually be able to trade, and it might make the most sense to trade just to kind of cash in high, is Rudy Gobert. Now, there's been a lot of talks about Gobert and Randle. Those are the two guys that are most likely. I've seen even several kind of reports of people hey, keep an eye on Minnesota potentially looking to move Gobert. And I do. I think that's the answer. Right? Obviously, look, if you can trade Julius Randle, you should trade Julius Randle. But you brought in Joan, right? Behringer. He's, at some point going to want him to kind of step in and play that role for you. You have guys like Naz Reid and stuff, which a lot of the time, especially during the regular season, Rudy Gobert is one of those guys that during the regular season kind of isn't really relevant. I mean, he is, but he isn't, not to the level he is in the playoffs because, the game's just faster, right? The game is just very different in the regular season. But when you get to the playoffs, Rudy Gobert is usually more impactful because the game slows down, becomes more of a half-court game, right? So he can kind of plant down and just be that interior presence and that interior size guy. We're on during the regular season, teams are just running and gunning and spreading it out. And it's this boom, 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 that Rudy Gobert, he's not at an advantage. So you see in the regular season, it's just dude, this guy's a bum, get him off the team. And then, you get to the playoffs, it's this guy's the best center in the league. Oh my God, right? He's the Jokic stopper. Right? But the reality is if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, because of how good Rudy Gobert played, because of what he did in Nikola Jokic, right? There's a lot of teams that I think would probably raise their hand for Rudy Gobert right now. I think there's a lot of teams that would potentially sign up to, be able to land Rudy Gobert. Look, there's an argument to keep, Rudy Gobert if you're the Timberwolves, but it's just, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. You're just not good enough. You're not. Right? I understand they made 2 straight conference finals, and I've seen people be like, they would have made a third, but okay, almost is only in horseshoes. And again, you can make the conference finals and not be close to an NBA championship. Right? It's not like they've gotten to the conference finals and just, have lost in a hard-fought 7 both times. No. Again, you can literally make the NBA finals and not be close to win an NBA championship. Right? There's so much circumstances that go into deep playoff runs and stuff. We've seen some crazy teams make deep playoff runs, right? But the problem with Rudy Gobert is that, again, he's another guy. 2 years, he's making even more than Julius Randle. He's owed $36.5 million and then $38 million player option, which I don't see him opting out of because he's going to be 35 years old. So, you still got 2 more years, but Rudy Gobert was so good, you might be able to move off of him, right? The question is okay, what teams would want Rudy Gobert? Because it's easy to go hey, you should cash and sell him high, right? But, would a team like San Antonio do it? Right? Because you can move Wemby to the 4 and have the best front court in basketball at that point. Warriors, they've always needed a center, right? Do they look at it and go like, hey, man, Rudy Gobert, right? Like, maybe keep Kristaps Porzingis cheap, and have like, can you have Porzingis kind of play the 4 maybe? I don't know. Like, but like, you got the Warriors, the Lakers, you have Clippers need a new center, so maybe they're a team that like is like, hey, we'll trade for him type thing. Again, there's and then you never know who like the random outlier is. The Knicks might end up needing to be in the market for a center. So there's going to be questions on who exactly is that team, but I do think that there are teams that are going to be like, man, we're probably going to have to go through Jokic, so we really need this, or we're probably going to have to go through Wemby, so we really could use, Gobert, and but you can't. The other thing is like you can't just trade Gobert just to trade him, right? Like you can't just move him just to move him. Like it has to make sense, right? Like you have to be either getting a high-end player that makes sense, or you're getting more depth, right? Like you say you're turning Rudy Gobert into like 2 rotation guys. It's like, okay, like these 2 guys make sense, right? So you're moving Joan up to be your starter and giving him more responsibility. And then, I don't know, signing a Nick Richards as like a backup, and then, going in and turning Rudy Gobert into, two or three just like, again, rotation guys. It's like, okay, cool. Like we turned, this in a Rudy Gobert into something. Because I don't think you're going to get better value for Rudy Gobert than you would this season. What I mean? Like, I don't think he's going to play much better, and he's only getting older. Like I said, regular season, he is a bit of a liability at times in certain teams, certain matchups. But once you get to the playoffs, again, his just impact and ability and size, it's really hard again, the game is just very different. So he becomes so much more of a factor. He becomes so much more of a piece and a component that you just don't get during the regular season, because again, it's just all space and pace, and bringing guys out and running up and down the court full speed. When you start getting into more half court sets and half court actions, and the game really slows down and stuff, that's where it changes. But anyways, always, this is a discussion. I pass question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Also, not to enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.